Diego Maradona will always be remembered as one of the best footballers in history, a gifted and unpredictable artist capable of all kinds of feats. Franco Baresi and Paolo Maldini described him as the toughest player they had ever played against. An anecdote to be included among those that have forged his legend. You want more? Then hold on tight, because here are 25 facts about the man known as El Pibe de Oro. Diego Armando Maradona was born on October 30th, 1960, 3 days after Muhammad Ali's first professional boxing match. At the age of 10, the 1.67-meter tall man appeared for the first time in the newspaper Clarín. He was described as the chosen one. In 1976, the prodigy became the youngest player to play in the Argentine top flight. Diego Maradona thus became El Pibe de Oro. A few months later, on February 27, 1977 to be precise, the 16-year-old made his debut for the Selección against Hungary at the Bombonera Stadium in Buenos Aires. Although he did not take part in the 1978 World Cup, he put his talent to good use for his country by winning the Under-20 World Cup a year later, a feat he repeated in 1986, but this time in front of the whole world. Against England in the quarterfinals, Diego scored two of the most famous goals in history in just 4 minutes. Yes, you got it, the famous Hand of God. But how can we forget that 60-meter sprint, full of class and grace, which received the honorary title of Goal of the Century, a victory over the English that the Scottish fans celebrated in style. The Tartan Army, a group of Scottish fans, sang the praises of Maradona for having kicked out their neighbors. In short, in total with Argentina, he played 91 games for 34 goals. The playmaker was present at the 82, 86, 90, and 94 World Cups and wore the captain's armband 16 times during the competition. A tournament in which he was often formidable. As we know, Maradona liked to break backs to excess. His opponents could not stand to be humiliated. The only way to stop him was to foul him. In 1982, Diego was cut down 23 times by the Italians, a record for a World Cup match. He also holds the record for the highest number of faults in an entire edition. His figure rose to 53 in the year of his coronation. Maradona has broken so many records, having played for Boca Juniors, Barcelona, and Napoli during his playing career. El Pibe de Oro is the only player in football history to have broken the transfer fee record twice. He first moved from Boca to Barcelona for 3.4 million euros, then from Barcelona to Napoli for 5.6 million euros. In Catalonia, Maradona was the first Barca player to be applauded at the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium. However, he ended his Barcelonian career by instigating one of the biggest fights in history. It was against Athletic Bilbao in the King's Cup final, with King Juan Carlos watching in amazement. In Napoli, the Argentine who had a tattoo of Che Guevara on his right arm and a portrait of Fidel Castro tattooed on his left leg will forever be the idol of a whole people. 7 seasons, 2 Serie A titles, a UEFA Cup, a status of best goal scorer in the history of the club, which will be surpassed later by Dries Mertens and Marek Hamsik. Diego simply allowed Napoli to rise to the top of Italian football. His Partenope number 10 shirt was later retired in his honor, before being reissued when Napoli were playing in Serie C. A clandestine museum in Secantiliano to the north of the city was even set up. Let it be said that the emblematic number 10 has known his greatest joys in Napoli, on and off the pitch. His years in the Italian city were indeed marked by nightlife, dubious associates, and friendships with the local mafia. His managers then hired a private detective to follow the star for a year and a half. A behavior and a dubious lifestyle that has largely cooled Olympique de Marseille at the time of recruiting him. Ready to double his salary to attract the genius to his squad, Marseille's executives finally backed down. With his football career behind him, Maradona donned a sports commentator's helmet for the 2006 World Cup. Except on Argentina's match days, of course, he demands not to have to work on his national team's match days. A national team that he coached from 2008 to 2010, a reign during which Argentina equaled its worst defeat in history by losing 6-1 to Bolivia in the World Cup qualifiers. A reign in which he took the liberty of giving individual advice to Lionel Messi so that he could improve his free kick shooting. And whether it's a coincidence or not, it's clear that La Pulga is one of the best free kick takers in the history of football. Speaking of 2 Argentinian treasures, they are incidentally the only 2 players in football history who have won the Best Player of the Tournament award at both the U20 World Cup and the Senior World Cup. But his greatest rivalry was with Pelé. One was elevated to the rank of king and the other to the rank of god. For a long time, the 2 men were inseparable, as if linked to each other when it came to choosing the player of the century. an honorary title that the Argentine and the Brazilian have shared since 2000. Pelé received it from FIFA, Maradona from a public vote, a prize that will animate the debates and finally divide the two men even more. Finally, it is no secret that Diego Maradona has had many personal problems with drugs. For example, he had to leave Napoli in 1991 after testing positive for cocaine. He was also sent home from the 1994 World Cup after failing a doping test. He said in a 1996 interview that he is and always will be a drug addict. In 1991, the Argentine number 10 was personally invited to the luxurious prison of the world's biggest drug lord, Pablo Escobar. The two men played a football match before celebrating. A mythical anecdote, just like Maradona's career, simply majestic. Which anecdote has made the biggest impression on you? Which player would you like to see next? Tell us all about it in the comments. And if you liked it, don't hesitate to talk about our channel around you, to like it, to share it.